City won the treble because of Ilkay Gundogan and the rest of him. But it looks like Gundogan could be leaving Manchester City Football Club. You may have noticed that I'm going to go live during the transfer window every single time I can if there's a big bit of breaking news. And it looks like our captain, fantastic, the man who made the Scousers cry, the man who was on fire, Ilkay Gundogan, could sadly be leaving Manchester City Football Club, according to the latest rumours. Hello to everyone joining the channel right now. Don't forget to give this video a like if you want to. Sad news, I know, of course, but go for it anyway if you want to. Subscribe to the channel if you are new as well. It's been a busy morning already. Breaking news about an hour ago that Kovacic was set to join Manchester City Football Club. And this is the reason why. Well, it suddenly makes all sense. Now, according to the latest reports, okay, Gundogan to Barcelona is 99% done. And I've used the inverted commas there because that is a quote from the aggregators and the journalists and so on. I'll jump over to the tweet right now. It's come from, I don't know who they are, but I'll chat about them immediately. But it's come from these reporters, Matteo Morato, no idea. Italian journalist speaks about transfers for Relevo, no idea, and Lorenzo Gonzalez, she's a journalist as well for RTVE. No idea if they're reliable or not. People have told me they're reliable. She reported here about Gundogan going through passing a medical to join Barcelona. Yes, his Ilkay Gundogan to Barca is now 99% complete. City captain has passed the medical and will join the La Liga side on an initial 2-year contract with the option of a further year. That is not ideal. That is not ideal. It's a weird one, actually, because I think I sort of made my peace with this. I sort of I semi-expected this, you know. I think Kovacic coming in. Read the next tweet. Well, I saw that. I said read the next tweet. But it's been deleted. Unless I'm being stupid here. The one about them denying it has disappeared. There was a tweet saying that they denied it Barcelona, but that seems to have disappeared. So I'm not really sure there what's going on. I did see another tweet about it being denied, but the aggregators have deleted that and everyone's still running with it. Who knows? It's very interesting either way because Gundogan, well, he's just captain to his treble. If you think why he would leave, it's probably because of that. I think his missus doesn't like Manchester. It's relatively well known. She thinks the food here is terrible. Shocking stuff. Go idle hands, man. Get a meaty stack and tell me the food's terrible. But in general, I think they've just married, they've just had a kid, and Ilkay Gundogan is just captain Manchester City Football Club to a treble. He might decide right now is the time to go live a glorious life in the Spanish sun somewhere and try a different kind of football because it's as good as it gets at Manchester City. I would get that. I think in general we're going to have to move on at some point. But for me, I don't want to see Gundogan go. I feel like his experience for the next generation would have been absolutely crucial. Now, the other side to it is that, according to some reports, well, I've lost where it is, but I saw it this morning. I saw it. Via Sam Lee, that's it. Sorry, I'm not well at the moment. Sam Lee said City do want Declan Rice, but it would do as a replacement for Ilkay Gundogan, who's not yet decided his future. So that's the other side of it. Like Gundogan would be a potential, would make way potentially for Rice. He's more of a DM. Admittedly, he is more of a DM. I understand that, but I do think Manchester City's interest in Declan Rice is legit. I think there is an element there. Kovacic, to me, is the more likely replacement for Gundogan. You know, the one who can drive past midfield, has that tight technical ability. You know, he can drive past people. Doesn't have the goal scoring of Gundogan. But Rice is a guy that Manchester City obviously are... City are obviously interested in. Now, I actually understand people's reservations around Rice, but I know people, sometimes I think, am I just wrong about Declan Rice? Because my impression is it formed by watching him play for England, and England are shite. I think England are underwhelming, but then at the same time, I understand what Guardiola can do to players. Like, would Declan Rice be quality alongside a Rodri, or, you know, working with De Bruyne and Foden and working with Guardiola? Would he be? Well, I sort of have to trust him. I have to trust Pep on this one because Pep is a genius of a genius of a manager. Now, of course, it doesn't mean anything yet because it's not actually happened. But Gundogan, it does look like he's going to go. I've always been a sort of firm believer that things that make themselves pretty obvious by people make themselves obvious by their actions. And I do think in this instance, it feels pretty obvious that the fact that he's not signed a contract yet after winning a treble, it screams to me that this man wants to move on. I could be wrong there, but I feel like if he was going to sign a contract, he already would have done it, which suggests to me that he's been waiting for the right offer. I don't want this to be the case, but it feels like the case. And when you see the breaking news of Kovacic joining Manchester City, which is going to happen in the next few days, the timing of it with Gundogan potentially going, it just sort of makes sense, doesn't it? The thing is for me, I get it. I do actually respect a player's rights to leave. And to be honest, the way I feel it is quite simple. If you ask a player to stay and they say, no, I want to leave, well, they don't want to be here. And if they don't want to be here, it means they haven't got the full hunger. You have to be a special kind of player to be able to not want to be here and still have that drive. And the special kind of players I'm talking about, people like Bernardo Silva, we all know he wants to leave, but Bernardo's style is inherently explosive, so it never really affected his performances on the pitch. But in general, for most players, if they don't want to be here, they might not have that edge that it takes to win a treble or to do something special again, especially after you've done something as brilliant as what Manchester City did last season or this season, whatever you want to call it. It's going to be really, really hard. Really, really hard to find that energy again, to go again. So for me, when you've got Gundogan who clearly wants to move on, I sort of say let him. Because he's done everything he possibly needs to. He's not exactly getting any younger. And at some point, we're going to have to move on from Gundogan and De Bruyne and the rest of the older ones. We're going to have to. And for me, the way I see it is that I feel like I want the next replacement for Gundogan, whoever it's going to be, to have the time with Guardiola. The time with Guardiola around this Manchester City side to get used to it. Because Guardiola, sadly, is not going to be here forever. He isn't, is he? We want him to be, but he isn't going to be here forever. So, bearing that in mind, you sort of want Guardiola to have that hands-on time. Now, Georgie Boy just mentioned Graham Bailey's just tweeted. I'll jump over to that right now in the chat. Graham Bailey, who is a journalist for 90 Minutes Football, says they're set to confirm the arrival. Gundogan has opted for a move to Spain ahead of staying in England, moving back to Germany or even linking up with Saudi Arabian Pro League. Sources have confirmed. This guy, by the way, is obviously a Phil Foden fan, so I respect him for that. This seems legit, unfortunately. It does seem legit. I mean, I don't want it to be, but it does seem legit, and I sort of respect it. There was a super chat from John Whittington earlier who said, remember as well, match positions do not matter to Pep. And we were talking about Kovacic or Rice, where they can and can't play. Guardiola will mould their game in whichever way he sees fit. I guess the way I see it is that I just inherently trust this City side and Pep. I think Declan Rice has the odd rough edge here, but I mean, what I know of West Ham fans, I would probably advise you all to go watch a Declan Rice comp, because I was a bit down Declan Rice too, but I went and watched a comp of him play, and I was actually surprised about how good he is. I haven't paid as much attention to Declan Rice as maybe I should have done. He's a wonderful player, and I think he'd probably fit into the energy and the hunger that we need, and England will get better too. McAtee could be the Gundogan replacement, you're true, Brian. But Kovacic and Rice, it'd be them, I reckon. The thing is, we're gonna miss the brilliance of Gundogan. I can't deny that, Mr. Eight of Spades. Absolutely. The way I see it is that evolution is not a choice here; it's necessary. We're gonna have to evolve. We're gonna have to move on. We're gonna have to change it. And when you see a City side, what could it be? I mean, next season, look. I'll start building something close to a squad right now on the screen. 1 second. Let me just kind of bring up the lineup builder on the other side of the screen over here. When you see, imagine we signed Declan Rice, So you've got something like this here, and you've got, I don't know, Kova and Phil. And then you've got I don't know where they're all going to be, so I'll just put the strikers up there. Hal and Alv Grealish out here. I think Phil's going to be in the middle, by the way. I think Phil Foden will be around here somewhere in the middle. So I think that'll be Foden. And then maybe McAtee, potentially. This would be down here. This would be, I think, good. I think there's a chance that Bernardo stays. But I'll put him on the right. This will be Phillips and Rodri. I think Phillips will stay as well, by the way, potentially. Maybe he doesn't. But then you have like Bernardo and maybe he doesn't stay Bernardo. I don't know. And then, of course, the defenders around there. You do need a bit of evolution in general. I mean, that's not particularly exciting. But I think, in general, you need a bit of a change. Yeah, Bestie just said, Pep always took the advice from Ferguson. Once you want a couple of things, hunger and desire disappears. Oh, KDB, sorry. Yeah, you're all right. I mean, I'd forgot to put KDB into that lineup. I was wondering why it looked like it was like something a bit special there. But the way I see it is that, as I mentioned in the previous video as well, like my mate was on Twitter earlier, was a United fan. He was talking about how when United in '95 lost Kacelskis, Hughes, and Ince in one window, and sometimes you do lose a few key players, but you have to evolve. You know, Ferguson often got like maligned for letting the likes of Stam and Beckham go really easy, and Roy Keane, but he understood Ferguson as much as I can't stand the guy. He understood that hunger is everything in football. It is. It is everything in football. It's everything in professional sport. Those who want it are more likely to get it. And you don't want it as much when you already have it, when you've achieved it, and when you're already very rich and successful. So for me, I see a Manchester City side next season that will probably absolutely be in the state of transition that we fear that this City side could be. But at the same time, I trust them. I trust this City side. I trust this coach system that we've got. I trust him to move on. And look, Gundogan to Barcelona, he will leave a legend. The only disappointment for me would be that he wouldn't get the send-off that he deserved. I guess for him, lifting the Champions League trophy, the Premier League trophy, the FA Cup, that is his send-off. I could have wished and hoped for, you know, the Etihad full, singing Gundogan's name, giving him that send-off that he absolutely deserves. But something tells me that he'll be back one day and he'll get it anyway. And something tells me that there'll be a statue lined up for him with the Champions League trophy or something at this point. He remains a legend if he goes. He stays a legend. He's done more than enough. And sometimes players want to leave because they're getting on a tiny bit. So if he goes, I respect it. I understand it. And I think, what more could he possibly do for us? What more could he do for us? You know, a brace in the FA Cup final against United, key goals in the title run-in, and now it's a chance, as Bandilda said, for Phil to step up, Phil Foden or someone like that. Kovacic to come in and provide the elegance and pause, and then Phil Foden to come in and provide the magic. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. And maybe, as Michael said in the chat, maybe Gundogan could go to management one day. Maybe Gundogan could come back and be an assistant coach here and eventually manage Man City. I don't know. But what I do want to see is Gundogan back at the Etihad one day to get that support and that love that he needs from this Manchester City fan base. Not that he didn't ever get it, but, you know, we were sort of robbed of a send-off for him, weren't we, because you haven't decided. I think he's going to go. I think this is probably legit. I don't know if it's going to happen, when it's going to happen, but I do think, unfortunately, he's going to leave. Hopefully I'm wrong. I've just seen that United have bid apparently for Mason Mount, 50 million. I think Mount would be a good signing for United, you know. I think he's a good player. Kai Havertz going to Arsenal. God, it's going crazy, isn't it? Newcastle have bid for Tonali from AC. What a crazy morning of transfer stuff. Shall I just do? Who would be up for, by the way? Who would be up for me just going live on Twitch talking about transfers in general? Like, just a transfer show. It could be Man City related, but it could also be broadly football related, just talking about teams. Because I want to start going live on Twitch during the summer again. If you would be, I mean, the way I could do it always is I could do it after these streams. I could just jump on. It's just chatting about transfers. I mean, because I was just strolling through the timeline now, and look at this. You see it, and you've got Tonali going to Newcastle. What an elegant, wonderful midfielder he is, potentially. You've got Havertz going to Arsenal, which is fascinating. I mean, I think that could be a really good signing. I hate to admit it. Then you've got Mason Mount potentially going to Man United. Like, it's all kicking off. Like, absolutely loads of stuff. So I do want to I'll do that. Well, at Twitter Space, well, a Twitch is easy for me because I prefer it, and like I'd rather do it on Twitch. I reckon I like doing the video side of it. And let's be honest as well, it's revenue. I need it during the summer, so it's easy for me to do Twitch streaming because it could actually make me a tiny little bit of money, and that's the truth of it all. You should do a daily show, first part City related, second part Premier League, Georgie boy. I like the idea of that, mate. I like the idea of that. But guys, Gundogan to Barca. What do you all make of it? Like that, how do you feel about it, honestly? Let me know in the comments and I'll read some of yours. Like, expected, disappointed? Does it change anything? I don't know. Here's a really interesting stat for you, by the way. The 5 central midfielders are the most ball carries per 90 minutes in the Premier League. Rodri, Mateo Kovacic and Bernardo Silva at the top there. There we go. Absolutely perfect for Manchester City, Kovacic. His retention is going to be perfect. It's going to be wonderful. Joel's sad. Brilla reckons it means Bernardo's staying. Sufyan's not happy, but I understand it from Gundogan's point of view. Kay says, Gundo getting old. Thanks, Gundo. As simple as that, really. I think that's a relatively succinct way of putting it. But Kovacic, do not underestimate what Kovacic can do for Manchester City. What I like about Kovacic coming in is instinctively that's going to be motivating, isn't it? It's going to motivate him. The way I feel about it, it's going to be. I think it's going to be a fascinating season next year, but I think it's going to be a necessary season as well. A necessary season. We're going to change an awful lot. Things are going to change an awful lot. But we need to. We absolutely need to. But guys, just a quick video jumping on there. I will be jumping on live as soon as I can for big breaking news. If you guys enjoy it. I would like Mount, by the way. Adil said Mount is a Gundogan replacement. I think Mason Mount's really good. That is my little confession. I think he's absolutely quality, but he's been wasted by Chelsea, and Guardiola would turn him into a Gundogan replacement. I guarantee that would happen, and I know I'm right on that, but I understand why people don't rate Mason Mount, but I think, go look at comps of Mason Mount 4 years ago. What an absolute waste of a player. He's such an intelligent footballer, Mason Mount. He's quality. Trust me, he is. He is. They've absolutely ruined him, Chelsea. They've ruined him, and I know I'm right on that. I know I am. I feel his technical ability is so much better than what people realise. But at the same time, we've got Jason McAtee. That's McAtee. James McAtee, my mate James. So James will be here in the first team instead. But guys, thanks for watching this video. I'm gonna go spend some time with the sun. Catch you on a bit. Love you loads. Bye bye.